While reading The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, written by the great Swiss psychoanalyst, psychiatrist, philosopher, and founder of analytical psychology, Carl Jung, I slowly began to unravel the sheer magnitude and widespread application regarding his idea of the collective unconscious. The concept of the collective unconscious seems very hard to initially grasp, with Jung describing it as consisting of mythological motifs or primordial images, for which reason the myths of all nations are its real exponents. This statement might make you think of mythological stories such as those of the Greek myth of Hercules, or religious imagery, which Jung's statement following the latter exemplifies. In fact, the whole of mythology could be taken as a sort of projection of the collective unconscious. I find this description of the collective unconscious to be paramount, as it sheds light on how it can be seen throughout the world. To fully understand this concept, though, we must look to another intuitive philosopher, Sigmund Freud, and his exploration and analysis of what he found to be the three levels of human consciousness. He classified these three levels as the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious, depicting them as an iceberg with the conscious at the tip, the subconscious below the surface, and the unconscious as the largest portion, deep below the water's surface. The conscious is what we are aware of in every moment and is personal to the psyche of whomever it belongs to. The subconscious is what we are only acutely aware of and is much harder to recognize and detect than the conscious. The subconscious is personal as well. The unconscious is what we are almost completely unaware of, and its place within our lives is nearly impossible to detect. The subconscious also differs from the previous two levels of consciousness, as it is believed to be innate and shared by everyone, meaning it has no qualities specific to the psyche of a person. Jung was an avid supporter of Freud and his ideas, and they became friends early on in Jung's career, with Jung being a protege of the older and more experienced Freud. They shared many similar ideas, but never took credit for the others, and developed many different interpretations and perspectives on them that didn't align with the other philosophers' way of thinking. I mention this because I feel that it is important to recognize where Jung based his philosophy and how he incorporated Freud's idea of consciousness into his own. Carl Jung's The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious is a collection of 9 essays written by Jung that go in depth on the idea of a collective unconscious and provide examples of common archetypes found within the collective unconscious of the human race. Jung states that all humans share a collective unconscious, one that is impersonal and separate from Freud's first two levels of consciousness. This collective unconscious is innate and ingrained within the structure of sentient human life. This degree of consciousness cannot be examined or recognized through basic self-reflection, as we are most likely unaware of it within the moment, but a pattern can be seen that proves the existence of this consciousness throughout humanity by examining archetypes. Although there are 12 aptly named Jungian archetypes, the 4 major ones I would argue he stresses the most importance on are as follows: the anima, the self, the shadow, and the persona. For the sake of brevity, I will not go into great detail on all of the archetypes and the examples of their place in the world, as Jung does an excellent job doing this in his writings, but keep in mind that the anima is the mother figure, such as Mother Earth, the Virgin Mary, and parental care. The self is your unified psyche, personality, and individuality. The shadow is the dark side of the psyche, with sexual desires, life instincts, and repressed emotions, ideas, and memories. And the persona is the way we present ourselves to the world, through a social mask that hides who we truly are. At this point, you might be asking, why does the collective unconscious matter if we can barely ascertain its existence? I had this exact same question when reading Jung's first 2 essays, and I had a small sliver of doubt that Jung could just be mad or delusional. But after looking further into Jung's work, I now fully realize the gargantuan weight that his idea of the collective unconscious holds. If a collective unconscious really exists, and we try to make sense of it through archetypes, usually religious and mythological stories, then we could look at this collective unconscious as not only a driving force that has unconsciously pushed and asserted its will onto every single member of humanity in the past and present, but also an entity that provides humanity with a way of living that it more or less agrees with. Note the connection between the religious and mythological stories and the influence of the collective unconscious. I am now under the impression that the collective unconscious could be the driving force that aims humanity towards some sort of benevolent master plan, whether it be enlightenment, ascension, reincarnation, or something else entirely. Jung's work has truly captivated me, and I encourage everyone to try out this book, or Jung's other works if either of them sound interesting to you. Thank you.